hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Live from Sundance. This is Tony Gapperstone. This is January 23rd. It's Friday. We are doing it again. We've been doing podcasts here from our condo on Park Avenue in Sundance 2026, the last Sundance in Park City, Utah. So we are celebrating. We've been sitting on this couch. We're squishing on this couch, talking with fellow filmmakers. I'm Tony Gapperstone, the founder and executive director of Brave Maker. I just got off the panel at the Impact Lounge. I'm gonna take this off. I got some filmmakers who are going to be at the Impact Lounge very soon, so promoting their workshop that they're doing. But John and Jonathan, you two have a lot of credits and things that you're doing. Impact, you got filmmaking adventures. I'd love you to introduce yourself, a little bit of who you are and what you're about. Go ahead.
Great. John Fitzgerald. Happy to be back. I was a co-founder of Slamdance. I guess I still am.
Slamdance in the house. Yeah. You'll always be.
I'll always be. 95. I was just telling Jonathan on the way in. I remember they took me to jail because one of our filmmakers had a short called No Parking, and he put parking tickets on all the cars on Main. And they
that guerrilla filmmaking in
it was crazy. Yeah. They thought I was responsible for it. But anyway, it's great to be back here and with Jonathan. Jonathan runs Film Quest. He'll tell you more about that in a minute. But I was there doing a couple panels for him this year, and we just announced a market. But yeah, I'm here doing a couple panels at the Impact Lounge, doing filmmaking for change, distribution revolution, and then we're going to talk about abilities and disability representation in films.
Love that. Is that the Film Quest hat?
That's part of our merch.
Yes,
yeah, check that
dude,
out.
I love your logo. I've seen that, and it's a genre fest. Talk about it.
It is a genre fest. I'll talk about it. So I'm Jonathan Martin. I'm the founder of Film Quest. Started it up in 2014.
Okay.
And like we said, genre, but not just focused on horror. It's just part of the puzzle, part of the bigger picture. We show sci-fi, fantasy, horror, westerns, action, adventure, beyond, right? We try to have a very broad view of genre cinema. We hosted in Provo, Utah, downtown. So it's all walkable. You're able to get everywhere. It's not quite as crazy as Park City doing Sundance.
When is it?
It is every Halloween.
Oh, Halloween.
We rock it. Yeah, 10 days over Halloween.
Great.
And it is currently the #1 best reviewed film festival in the world on Film Freeway, actually, as well.
And a Movie Maker top
20. Yeah. We've been 3 years running Movie Maker magazine, 25 coolest film festivals in the world as well. So it's kind of a cool hip thing, you know. It's like if you know, and we want more and more people to come around. And one more kind of shout out that we did last year's Oscar winner actually won our grand prize in 2024. I'm Not a Robot. And they just announced the Oscar nominees for the live action short and obviously all the other films. And 2 of those films won at Film Quest this past fall as well, including our grand prize winner and our best foreign short winner. So things are kind of cooking and heating up on that level as well. So we're very proud of those filmmakers and those films. Those 2 nominees are 2 people exchanging saliva, which, hey, if we want to get real comfortable. And
3 people exchanging
saliva. Get that going on. And also the singers. Yeah. And then also John and I, we announced in November, right after the festival, a genre-focused film market that we'll also be hosting with Film Quest. Should be very exciting. We have different plans for it. Of course, there's going to be business to business, but we want to look at it from a different lens, a different perspective, so people are getting more out of it. That has
more engaging for filmmakers than the traditional market where it's buying and selling.
Exactly.
So who will be your buyers? Do you have people already lined up?
The thing is, I think we will have distribution companies there looking for projects, and there will be market screenings like you see at the other markets. But the most important aspect to this will be bringing all the filmmakers in. Jonathan can only show so many films based on the venues. There's a lot of other films that deserve a shot.
Right.
And so giving them a market screening and then wrapping a bunch of labs and workshops, contests, engagement, just creating experiences and helping these filmmakers connect so that they can leave with actions to get their next project made.
I've been following obviously Slamdance and Film Quest for some time. Brave Maker was really inspired by this sense of community and the ability to get people together on, not a roof, but in a city to, like camp, get together, hang out, talk. Like the fact that we're hanging out on a couch. I mean, you emailed me maybe 2 weeks ago. You're like, hey, let's get together. Last time we talked was maybe 2 years ago or something like that, because of your film and all the things you're doing with impact initiatives. I love this. Like, I love that now, like you're sitting next to me. I have one more step closer to Film Quest than I have had before. And now I can start thinking about who I can direct your way and how we can connect and collaborate.
Well, you have become Film Quest now. You know, that's part of the mantra, right? Like once you touch it and become a part of it, you are part of. You are Film Quest. That's what it is.
It's like a positive virus.
It comes in. You know, it's like going around. You're in the club.
And I want
now,
to
right?
I love
But the
that
whole
hat.
idea, like there's some festivals you go to where they have a fun reception, right? You get some cheese, some crackers, and a beer. But there are other festivals where there's proactive engagement, right? Where they bring people together and they're doing interesting things. And so the idea of workshops and labs and bringing mentors and all-stars in to talk to filmmakers, so that there's just dozens of filmmakers leaving this event with some actions to take so they can move their projects forward. I think everybody knows the Hollywood business model is broken. It's all about alternative distribution. So if we can bring all these people together to talk about what's next and how and all these new unique paths for distribution, it's a win-win-win.
So when you think about the brokenness of Hollywood and like the indie spirit, I mean, Sundance is known for that indie spirit. Slamdance, you know, starting here as a response to not being selected. What are some things that you're seeing that filmmakers can be accessing or doing to find a sustainable career in this industry?
Well, I think it starts with one thing, in my opinion, which is budget. I think there are a lot of people that go out and try and raise more money than they really need to raise to tell their story, because the distribution models are all kind of broken too. And what we're talking about with this distribution revolution panel,
which is when
it's I'm trying to remember.
Impact Lounge at Sundance.
10 a.m. on Sunday at the Impact Lounge.
10 a.m. Sunday in person here in Sundance.
Dan Mervish, one of my co-founders, and Amy Hobby are going to moderate. A few of us, John Wright. There's going to be some good people on the panel, but they put a renegade row together where they put people like Carol Martesco and Christine Marchese from Kinema, a lot of really interesting people, and they're all talking about new models of distribution. And a lot of my clients are moving down this path too, which is non-theatrical screenings, community screenings, church screenings, educational screenings.
You're building your audience organically.
And the other thing is that five plus years ago, you couldn't call AMC. You couldn't call Regal. Now you can go right to the theaters. We have a friend that is bicycling his film across the country. He's filling the theater. He's doing Q&As. He's spending $500 on some social media and some postcards, and he's packing the house. And so there's lots of interesting Hundreds of Beavers, right? There's lots of these independent films that are finding an audience without going down that traditional boring path.
Well, and you know, I just to add to that, I was having a conversation the other day with some filmmakers actually in India, of all places, and and we were talking about the fact that there's no film that exists that everybody has seen. Not a single film, right? Not even Star Wars. Not everybody in the world has seen Star Wars, right?
Like everyone in this room, anyone who want to admit they have not seen Star Wars in this room?
Was like,
anybody not seen it?
Okay.
Right. In this room, everyone's seen it.
Everybody's seen it, right?
We're
good here. But once you kind of understand that and realize, like, your film is not going to be seen by everybody. That's the hope, that's the dream, but not everybody's going to see your film or your TV series or your short film.
Right.
Now we can actually start to zero in and focus on what your goal is. Who is your audience? And now that I know, okay, this is my audience, this is who I'm making it for, how do I market that film? How do I get that out to it? And that was actually one of the labs that we had at the festival this year, that you attended, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Did you attend that one? Did you
talking about
the marketing? No, the marketing lab. Oh no, you weren't there yet. Sorry. But we had some marketers that came in that actually talked about how to find an audience for your film and then marketing for it. Because a lot of people just make a film and they're just like, everybody's going to come and see my film. I'm going to get into Sundance and then I'm going to sell my movie for, $3 million. Well, good luck on that front, like today. And instead of actually making a film for a specific audience, because when you make a film for a specific audience, you know who that is, right? Still make it personal and all those things that come with that. But when you actually target that from the very beginning, which, let's be real, most filmmakers don't think that way. You can now actually find the distributors that target that niche. You can actually now be more focused on what it is that you need to do. And also
find groups
that
you can connect to in that space.
And you could also make the film, again, not trying to like bring down a film into like a science that by minute 5 you must have this, or minute 10 you must have that, right? But there is truth to that too. Distributors and sales agents are looking for certain moments to happen Not too dissimilar from film programming, right? Because they're thinking like, okay, the audience is going to get bored if this doesn't happen by 10 minutes. If you're doing this by minute 20, you're definitely, this ain't happening, you know? And, but that's the thing. If you could actually come in with filmmakers understanding, and you were talking about this earlier, being much more entrepreneurial as they come in. And that's the thing. And actually, I'll let you speak to that a little bit.
Well, I just think that, back in the day, a lot of us that learned traditional filmmaking, and the director made the movie and then handed it off. And I think what we're seeing in the last few years is that you need to wear your entrepreneurial hat. You need to think creatively about how to find your audience, how to tap them, what partners you can bring in. A lot of people look to brands for money, but there's also partnerships with brands that will help get the word out about your film. So I think it's just thinking more creatively about your film as a business, as a brand, and the products. I was just at this conference that Slow Ventures did the other day. Brilliant. And they've really championed a lot of filmmakers in this creator economy, and the products and the merchandising and just this whole fan base that they're building in these very specific niches. It's brilliant.
Okay, so
but if you just think creatively about it.
If you're just joining in, this episode 318 of the Brave Maker podcast. I'm talking to some entrepreneurs who are also filmmakers, and we have people in the house today. So live studio audience, if you want to ask a question, I do want to chat a little bit quickly before we take some questions about, you said the workshop you went to about finding your audience and knowing what it is. I think that is really interesting because a lot of people cannot articulate that. Who is this movie for? Who is this show for? And they'll say, well, everybody. But is it for a certain age demographic? Is it for a niche of people? Like I'm looking at our filmmaker Priscilla over here, who's got this short film called For the Culture. Hey. It's all about Filipino community, right? There's a huge market there. But sometimes I think we're afraid as filmmakers to narrow it down because, like, well, I don't just want to be this audience. I want to be bigger. So what are the things that you learned in that we could be taking away?
Well, I think there are movies examples like Abramarama, for example, has done great things with some movies, and one of them was Herb Alpert. So focusing on his fan base, getting the word out about his music over the years, it not only found a huge audience anchored by social media and a very creative distribution plan, but it also boosted his record sales. So it kind of works both ways.
So it's a double impact.
Yeah.
Music, film.
And there's other films that are about like greenery or landscaping, right? There's a guy did a great documentary. It was about landscape architecture, and he took it in the museums, and took it in, again, a very non-traditional distribution model. Did really well. Wisdom of Trauma, I think, made over $1 million. He took this movie to conferences with people dealing with trauma. Well, a lot of people in the world dealt with trauma. So he leaned into this guy's mailing list and conferences that spoke to trauma, driving people back to his website. People had to order it at a certain time. So he had a very specific niche, and then it kind of crossed over from there. So there's all these different ideas, to Jonathan's point, about reaching very specific niches. And if it crosses over, that's great. But if you start somewhere, then you have.
Who is it for? Answer that question. Yeah. Who is your movie for?
Who am I making my movie for?
Yeah, and you already mentioned Hundreds of Beavers, and we played Hundreds of Beavers a couple of years ago. We actually ended their run with the timing of everything. Now they focused almost exclusively on genre festivals, and
independent theaters.
Yeah, but before they got to the independent run, listen, if you look at Hundreds of Beavers and somebody was just telling you what it was, it's in black and white, it's silent. But it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. And in fact, that screening at FilmQuest is bar none the most electric screening I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
It was it was the most electrifying screen I've ever seen.
A silent film.
A silent film. If you've never seen Hundreds of Beavers, everybody has to see it. I'm telling you right now, that will be a case study for how to release a film. They got picked up. Yeah, because they did everything wrong. But they knew their audience, and they were empowered by that audience when they took it out to the festivals. They saw how people were eating this up. It was getting the reviews. I mean, if you look it up on IMDb, I think it's like close to an 8 overall on its IMDb score from like a few thousand votes.
How long is it?
Like hour and a half, something like that. It's a feature length.
Silent frigging feature film.
But the music's great. The comedy is a masterclass in comedy. Again, does everything that is up, but they knew their audience. They knew what they had on their hands. So when they got their distribution deal, they weren't initially going to my knowledge, they weren't initially going to get.
Deal. They did decide to do
they did this thing, and they made $500,000 at the box office doing the road show. Now, I know Mike, who's the producer, that directed it, and it wore him out. But again, he knew what he was doing on that front. And, to another point, I can only speak to my experience. Part of what put me on my festival journey was I did my first short film back in 2011. So I was doing that, but this was in the dark days before the Empire, the Clone Wars, all that stuff. But like when they had Without a Box, and where you actually had to really find out if these festivals even existed. And I mean, you still have to do that.
There were no scams on there.
There was no scams.
Now they're everywhere.
Right? Like going with that. But I mean, there weren't 10,000 festivals, and you actually had to Google search and actually research. So I remember I ended up having a very successful run with my festival, but a lot of that was attributed to, which more filmmakers need to understand and do, is okay, I made a horror short film. This is what I did. It was longer than most short films, but let's go research every festival I want to go to. Let's find out what they've programmed, what's won their festival. Let's go and look up all the lists. Let's find everything that we can before I even made that first submission. Like, what can I find out about them? Do they even have a website? Especially at the time. This is in the days where you had to burn a DVD. I mean, I know there's even others. There was like, oh, son, I had to burn VHS tapes, to get
Tape
that
to
out.
tape,
Get that going on, right? Mini DV. Have you ever done that? But like coming on in and sometimes you take a flyer with it, but it was that research, doing that homework, being realistic with myself and my film of what I had, that I was able to maximize the success of that festival run. And then I got a lot of festival knowledge out of that. Like my film would not have been a fit for Slamdance, right? And I think everybody's like, but I have to. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says you
should
to.
not. This is my opinion. I think 25, 30 film festivals in the country, that's a lot for submission fees when you think about it. But I know people who have been like 50 plus and they're just like throwing money out the door because they don't
do the research.
They don't know what the film festival is. And half the times that festival could be a scam or they're not watching it. So it's like, if you only have a certain amount of money and time, make sure it's like these 25 festivals are perfect for you.
So here's a tip for your listeners. There's a course that we did, because my day job is doing film festival strategies. We did a course that you can see a free webinar. It's, I think, 45 minutes ish of how to navigate the film festival world. Yeah. All
right. Google that.
Filmfestivalmastery.com.
Film Festival Mastery. I think I'm aware of that. I have seen that.
Yeah. Well, it just helps people because they do blow through. I talk to people, John, I just spent $1,200 on application fees and I'm not hearing back.
No, golly.
But to that point, not just the application fees, most filmmakers aren't budgeting for when they do get into festivals, right? They're not thinking ahead of that because you need to basically think about, okay, now that I'm into a festival, I need to actually go to some of these festivals because you could send it all out. But if you don't go to at least a handful of these festivals, then what are you learning? Right? Like you're not learning how your audience is actually reacting to the film. You're not meeting other filmmakers that these can be your potential collaborators and colleagues that are going to be coming in, or investors to that point, right? Like if you don't go out and put the time in to do it. So frankly, you might have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 in your festival budget to submit to. Well, you need to add another 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 to fly, attend, drive, go out and do that. And of course, that's where the importance of the research of the festivals come down to, seeing the reputations of the festival. Because
you got to ask what their hospitality program is.
See what's going on. Read the reviews on Film Freeway.
Yes,
right.
And more and more
happy hours. Are you doing receptions? How many filmmakers show up? You don't want to waste all that money and show up to the festival and there's like 3 filmmakers there.
It's mind-boggling to me that someone wouldn't spend the time before you put money out there for a submission to just look at their social media, look at their behind the scenes. Are they on YouTube? Do they have a presence? What kind of press are they getting? Who has been there before? It doesn't take very long to do it. It doesn't, right? Is there any questions anybody wants to pop off in our condo here? Make some noise so people can hear you. Hey! Hi, Priscilla, what's up?
Slamdance started but at Sundance. Like, what gave you the confidence to start film festival right next to one of the biggest ones? Like,
okay, so this is the 2-minute version. 3 filmmakers that all met at the IFFM in New York,
which is independent something.
Independent feature film market, which is now part of Gotham, I think. This is 94. We all had submitted to Sundance, didn't get in, so it evolved from we're going to have a screw Sundance party to let's go up and screen our movies anyway, to let's start a film festival. So that all happened over the course of 7 days.
Wow.
And then Dan, Shane, and I all agreed to do it. Dan's a great writer and had a great film, and he got a front page story in Variety saying that we're going to go back. Shane's roommate came up with the name Slamdance, which obviously has a little bit of a ring to it. Stirred it up a bit, and I think we started with the intention of just bringing 10 filmmakers out. We all stayed in the same condo. We were gonna be in Salt Lake screening at the University of Utah, but there weren't enough people coming down. So what happened was we moved into Prospector Square, right down the street, right down the hall from one of the Sundance screenings where the Impact Lounge is now.
Yeah,
and basically ran our own projectors. Let everybody that didn't get into the Sundance screenings come into our screenings. And frankly, that was when Sundance had gone through some negative press and had gotten a little too political. This is 95. And so we just kind of by accident became a Cinderella story. And then they just decided, maybe we should come back. And the phone was ringing off the hook. Are you guys going back? So I said, yeah, I put my filmmaking thing on the side. So I came back as the director. Peter Baxter, who was a producer of another film in the festival, came on as the creative director. And so we did it for 3 years, and we moved to the Treasure Mountain Inn, knocked a hole out of the closet for a projection booth. And that's Treasure Mountain Inn is where we screened for the next few years.
Yeah.
Then I moved on to AFI. So you have to ask the other guys that took the mantle when I left, but it was a really fun story. And the amazing thing is these guys kept it going. Filmmakers running a festival for filmmakers. They moved to LA last year, and it's one of the top festivals in the world.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So if you're in LA now,
just
check it
because
out.
we wanted to get some films shown, quite honestly.
You guys built your own table.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Build your own thing. Build your own thing. You don't need to
That's
wait.
the entrepreneur thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's why I started Brave Maker too. I want my own.
I never even knew what
Yeah.
that word was, I don't think. And then somebody said, if you're going to write a story about entrepreneur, maybe Slamdance was kind of a new business.
Yep, it is.
Why haven't we had a movie about Slamdance and the founding of Slamdance, right? Like, where's the movie here?
There was a documentary that started out as a movie about Slamdance, but then Marina Zenovich took it in a much broader direction. So we're just a little part of it. But it was there. It was good.
Great.
I can see a real movie on about that. Let's get a narrative going on.
Any other questions? Anybody wants?
Yeah. Don't be shy, guys. We could see all your faces.
Come on, Jonathan.
Come on here.
Jonathan and Tony on a couch over there.
Yeah. What's
You got
going
time
on?
for one question?
I feel it.
Eric, it's brewing.
Okay.
What is Slamdance?
Slamdance is a film festival.
When?
Oh, it this year's I think moved to February. It was always the same time as Sundance because obviously the idea was
Mm-hmm.
filmmakers wanted to be here when everybody was here. But I believe since they moved to LA that it's in early February
Okay, cool.
in LA.
So Slamdance February, Brave Maker July, Film Quest October.
October.
Whoa.
Yeah. Come out for Halloween. Get spooked,
Right.
like have a good time, right? Might snow, might not. It's dry right now. We'll see what goes on. I don't
I'm
know.
wearing jogging suits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the weirdest Sundance ever. No
like,
snow
no,
on the
this
ground.
is like, it's definitely going on with that thing. But but I just want to add something to John there. Like, there is to like doing a film festival, like it fell into my lap doing one. And it's like there's like luck and serendipity that like can go into this as well, right? Like sometimes people just buy into one over another, and sometimes you can't predict it. And then from that point on, it comes down to who's putting together. Like, do they have the wherewithal to like keep it going and then like actually listen and understand?
Yeah,
And
you're
go
not
to
doing
there.
it. You're not doing it for money.
No.
There's no money.
Yeah.
Very few festivals actually make money.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
be passionate.
You have to be passionate. It's for the people. It's about the
for the
people.
and it's about discovery. It's
Yep.
if you
Yep.
if you get off on supporting the discovery of other
Yep.
talent, that's a thing.
And let me say too, I think this is where the generosity of community is what inspires me to keep going. Because I have a whole other job and I do all these other freelance things to be able to make ends meet and put kids through college. But there's enough resources out there for people to support the arts. Like now, more than ever, it feels like a cliche thing to say, but the arts need support. So go to these festivals, support them. If you are a company, if you are a person, your money counts to help impact these next generation of storytellers.
Yeah.
Well, and there's more opportunity than
Yeah.
ever before. I mean, everybody talks about how broken everything is. That's true on the Hollywood side, and I think it is tough to get a deal with, A24, Neon, or Sony Classics, but you can find your own path.
Yeah, well, and I want to put Sam out. You mentioned that you're a Filipino filmmaker, right? Or you have a Filipino film, yes?
Yeah, producing.
And so a lot of people don't realize like how global the industry is actually becoming. And I'm not going to get like too into it, but I had a meeting with somebody. They actually have a film at Sundance playing this season. I think Monday night it premieres.
And it's called?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. But they have a film that's playing Monday. And we were sitting down and we had lunch about 2 weeks ago. And he told me that he produced a film out of Lebanon, right? And we were comparing notes because I had just come over from Saudi Arabia as well. And Netflix picked up this film. I can tell you the name of the producer. The producer's name is Houston King, right? Great name, Houston King. And so you could look it up from there and see what they were. And then he proceeded to tell me after they had this film in Lebanon that over at the Chinese box office, it made 44 million.
What?
Yeah, it made 44 million on an independent Arab-speaking film, right? And then I've also been going over to Indonesia, and I won't get too much into that over there, right? But people do not realize what's happening over in the box office in Indonesia. Like, it's not in the numbers. It's not in Box Office Mojo.
Okay.
It will blow your mind how much money they're making on films over there. But also coupling that, during Film Quest this last fall, we had a big distribution panel, and one of my friends, he's the SVP of Saban Films, David Wardle. He's the head of business and legal. So he's seeing a lot of the contracts that's starting to come before others do. So he's got his finger on the pulse of some of the things that we're barely talking about now, like AI, right? But one of the things that AI is doing, and you already saw it with the Swedish film, I believe, called Watch the Skies. Have you heard of this film? So what they did was when it came out to English-speaking countries, maybe I be speaking to this or this, but answering this is, to English-speaking countries, they redubbed it with the actors' voices and they matched it with some tracking using AI. So it's their voice, it's the actor's voice. They all signed off on it. It matches on screen, right, in English. It costs about $500,000 from what I understand. You can read the articles on it, but it was very successful how it did. I believe the films pull the profit, all that. It's very Spielbergian, kind of a sci-fi Spielbergian film. But now you could watch that film in English or still in the original Swedish. But what's happening here is we are on a trajectory. We can argue whether that's AI used right or not, whatever it is. But in 10 years, when the indies can afford that, and it's going to happen, it's going to come. We can't avoid tools like that. I'm not talking replacing actors or scenery or anything like that. But that's a type of tool that now makes films more accessible around the world. And so we're talking 5, 10, maybe 15 years. Films are going to start, and especially when actors realize how much money they can make from having their voice redubbed into another language, right? Like, it's their voice. It is their voice going in with it, their inflections and everything like that. It's going to change some dialogue. But now films from around the world, you can still watch it in subtitles or in its original language, but now it's going to become a lot more accessible. And that goes both ways. So we're going to see movie stars who can't speak English that are now going to be movie stars, and they can go and star in a Hollywood movie and not speak any English because the AI is going to take care of it.
It's happening on social media. If you haven't noticed, like I'll do reels 2 or 3 times a day, and then it'll say, your translations are finished. Here's me speaking in Hindi, in Spanish, in all these things. It is wild. And it's like my voice and my inflections, and I'm watching myself speak a different language.
Yeah. Wow. And it's coming. And that's going to change. That's one of the things that will change the space. But to the point of the Filipino film, there is a market that's probably bigger than here in America over in Southeast Asia that appeals to that. Right? So there you go, right? And people don't realize that these films are selling and doing better and performing better in foreign markets because that's what they're looking for.
And they go right to the theater.
Okay.
And then go into the theaters there. This isn't on streaming. This is cinemas.
Question. So for us indie, newer filmmakers, do we submit to film festivals in South Asia hoping to get a deal, or do we have to find somebody to do the distribution?
I think that's a fair question to ask. I think
there's not a lot of great festivals there, but Jonathan can tell you when we finish here, he can tell you more about who to contact about distribution. Because unlike here, which I talked about a little bit earlier, you can kind of get to some of the theaters, but there's much less distribution. These filmmakers went right to the chains.
Yeah. So some of them are just going, and that's just how they do business, right? They don't have it. It's very different. So if I bring a film from America and I take it to anonymous Southeast Asian country. We won't be specific about one, right? Not all of them are built this way, but I can go to one and you go directly to the cinema. And that's the deal you make. But if it's like as an independent filmmaker over there, or, I mean, everybody's pretty much independent filmmaker, even if it's like a studio over there, right? They're still indies doing it. But to the point that I'm getting at is, but when it's like a big studio, they're going to go through the whole process and they're going to go in like, oh, well, here's our feed, here's our chain, and do all that. And it's there. But like, what I'm saying is with the film festival question that he asked is like, yeah, absolutely. But target the film festival. So if you're making a film festival, like if you're making a film, there's film festivals for Asian filmmakers or Asian films, but you might have made a film that should be here in Sundance, or it could be there. What I would say and what I would advise is be realistic about your film. Just be realistic. Sit down with people, actually talk about it, like understand these are the opportunities that I have. And now that you've done that, do that kind of as a test audience. A lot of filmmakers don't realize that a festival is actually a place that you can test and get feedback and then improve your film, right? Like a lot of people don't do that. I know several that do, but like most don't. They're like, it's the finished product.
Test screenings.
I was just going to announce. So 2 years ago, we did our first test screening.
Cool.
And just today, I had a meeting with one of our former alum filmmakers saying that was like life-changing and we should do it again. I was like, yeah, that's going to be a part of our program. We are going to be doing test screenings, secret. So it's like, you don't know what you're coming to watch. It's a secret screening, but you come in, you meet with the filmmaker, and you get to give your feedback. And then boom, you're a part of that process. And last time we did it, the person was still raising funds for post. They got $15,000 of investment that night.
That's awesome.
At the test screening.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so that's why don't be afraid to show your film. Don't be afraid to take risks with it. And then to answer your question about distribution, here localized, we still have our system. To what John's talking about, there's so many more avenues that could go in that you could take ownership of this, right? But if we're talking traditional, there's a traditional route that you could go. You could take it to a market. Maybe it performs really well at a festival, things like that. It gets bought. There's that path. But internationally, there's nothing that prevents you from actually taking the time. Like if you made a film, as you spoke, that's in Filipino and also English, but it's still in Filipino, what's preventing you and what's preventing anybody from watching from going to the Philippines and selling that film? But we put this block in our mind. And then maybe going to Indonesia, where they do have an interest in Filipino film, and going to Thailand, where they do have an interest in Filipino cinema, right? Like, because for a long time, Filipino cinema was they ruled Southeast Asia, right? They weren't really producing things in these other nations. It was Filipino cinema that was, right? So like understanding that and doing your homework and research, and that's something that we've kind of talked about earlier, right? That's only going to empower you more and more and more. And, but also being entrepreneurial. Thinking about it differently.
It's like people just assume here's the checklist of the 20 festivals that are worth my time. I'm just gonna, it's like we call it spray and pray. But if you do your homework and you talk to filmmakers that have been down your path, and it gives you more information to make educated decisions so you can reach your goals instead of just blowing a bunch of money.
Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, we're a genre festival, and at least 10 to 15% of our submissions aren't genre. It's just like,
you're like, what?
Like at all, like in any shape or form. And then I get emails like, why didn't you take our film? Well, I guess you never read from the very beginning what we actually were, right? So, but we're very kind, if I'm going to be honest, about how we respond to these things. But at the same time, because everybody's still learning. But again, homework, do your research, like understand what you could actually do. But coming back to it is this, and I'll say this. Sorry, I know you got me going. It is all about the films. It's about the stories, right? Like it is the quality of that. Like a festival needs to be programming good films, because what happens to that is a chain reaction where the filmmakers that attend, you're now with your people. You're with your collaborators. You are with the people that you actually want to be with, right? Because now you're like, have we ever been to a festival? You're like, oh my gosh, like I'm not sure I actually want to meet anybody here because the films like maybe aren't what I thought they would be. Maybe I'm the one with that film, right? All that. But then when you go to a film and everything is good, or most everything's good, you are excited to meet everybody. And likewise, they thought your film was awesome. And now they want to meet you. And so the more that you can do that, and that comes together on that level, that's where kind of the magic happens. But it begins with the film.
The programmers that are good are essentially curating culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, the reason community festivals are so successful is because they've been around long enough that the audience trusts them.
Yeah.
They just buy their pass. They don't even need to see what the movies
They
are.
know they're going to be good.
They know they're going to be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this is a good place to start. We could obviously talk longer because we're filmmakers and we have stories to tell.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I love this. So tell people where they can find you and connect with you if they want to connect.
The easiest place to find me is causepictures.com. Causepictures.com. And then I have a blog that I do on Substack. It's called On the Fest Circuit.
And I would say the last time when I read your book, it was like 3rd edition. Is that right? How many editions?
2nd edition, Filmmaking for Change.
Filmmaking for Change. So it's in its 2nd edition. Check that book out. It's great for filmmakers who want to have an impact with their stories.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Jonathan?
You can find me filmquestfest.com. I'm not that much on social media actually, but we also have FilmQuest on Instagram. That's kind of our biggest that's the most social media that we use, but I also have a production company called Bohemian Industries. So if you go to bohemianindustries.com or just Bohemian Industries on Instagram, that's me.
Great. And if you happen to be at Sundance this week, go to Impact Lounge and you'll find out when the workshops that they're doing are going to be happening on Filmmaking
for Change, Distribution Revolution, and Disabilities. What's it called? Something abilities. Authentic abilities. Authentic abilities.
Great. Are you doing that with Nick Novicki by any chance?
Monday at 11:30.
All right, look it up.
Monday
Make sure.
at 11:30 at the Impact Lounge.
All right, good. Well,
do your homework.
Do your homework. Yeah, make it hard for people to find.
ImpactLounge.com.
There you go. My name is Tony Gapisone. You can find me on the socials at Tony Gapisone and at BraveMaker.org. If you happen to be at Sundance, please hit us up. We'd love to get to know you. We're doing more live podcasts here. We're doing some roundtables with roadmap writers. Also, No Film School is recording podcast live here at the Bravemaker House. We love this community. We hope that you continue to go after your dreams because it's good for your mental health to be a creator. You cannot suppress those things. You must go after them because it's what you were designed and destined to do. If you like what you hear, if you want to support us in any way, go to bravemaker.com/donate to become a donor today. We have 75 people who donate every month, anywhere from $3 a month to our largest donor is $300 a month. My mom gives $250 a month. Thank you to my mom, Robin, for supporting this. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, brave stories change the world, and you are the story. We'll see you soon next time.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.